Alrighty, hello everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Professional American Podcast. This is going to be the last one that I do. Spoiler alert. I'm going to get that right out of the way now. I know it's been a while. I have a lot that just seems to be piling up, unfortunately, actually, and this project kind of takes the back burner, and rather than do a disservice to all those who do like to listen, which I appreciate every single one of you, and instead of doing a disservice to you by making you wait and then forget, like me, I am instead just going to disband it and move on to other projects. So I thank you all for listening. I'm still going to do I'm going to still do a regular episode today. And actually, I'm doing it on video as well. So we'll see how this goes. If you're listening on Apple Podcasts, this actually doesn't help you at all. So you should probably go on over to YouTube or Spotify. Hopefully it works on Spotify. It'll be my first time doing it. So we'll go on Spotify or YouTube and view it over there. There's going to be some visuals in this one. That's why I'm doing it on video. All right. So that's the introduction. Welcome. If you're new and this is your first time, well, I'm very sorry that this is also your last time. But at least there's a back catalog, so that's good. The videos will stay up on YouTube, so that's not going anywhere. And I believe it's going to stay on Spotify for a certain amount of time. I'm not exactly sure. I don't think there's an expiration like Apple Podcasts. They go away once I stop paying the bill. So this will be up for probably about another maybe 60 days total on Apple Podcasts, and then you'll have to move over to Spotify and YouTube. But at least they're there. They're not going anywhere. So that's pretty much it. Everything's been good here. Everything on the home front is very good. Everyone's healthy. Everyone's doing well. Business is slow this time of year, but it's the time of year. Wintertime always seems to come to a screeching halt. The parachute gets ripped, and that's just the way it is. I've been used to it now. I've been doing this coming up on 7 years, and it's just the way it is. That's fine. God always provides, and now I just happen to be a little bit more in tune with how well He really provides for us, even when it seems like things aren't going well. So I'm going to go over a couple things here. Essentially, my plans moving forward, which I kind of told you. The plans is that this is going to be dissolved. You can still check out my work over at talesofhonorpodcast.com. Anywhere you listen to this right now, you'll also be able to listen to that show. It's a podcast I've been doing now for the last going to be 6 years that covers the story of every single Medal of Honor recipient. There's over 3,500 of them, and going all the way back to the Civil War to present day. The Medal of Honor, for those who aren't aware, is our nation's highest military award for valor, and it's a long journey. I'm about 586 done out of 3,500, so I got a long ways to go. But you can go check it out over there. Be sure to follow new episodes twice a week, every Wednesday and Sunday, and I'm not going to stop that anytime soon. I'm pretty much going to have to either have no words, no voice. That's how I'm going to stop recording. And even then, I'll continue to write and find somebody else to record. And so I until my fingers are broke, till my voice is gone, or until I'm in the ground, then that's the only way that this podcast is going to stop. So go check that out over there if you'd like to. I'll have a link in the show notes for you to go check that out. All right. Let's see here. Moving on, let's talk about growhouse. I'm going to talk about growhouse, things that we've been doing around the property to prepare for the grow season this upcoming year, for the 2023 grow season. Crystal's been asking me for a grow house of some sort, a hoop house or whatever you want to call it, greenhouse. There's so many different ways. I'm calling it a grow house because that's just what I've decided. A hoop house usually has a lot of people like to use PVC pipe that's bent into a U. That's one way of building it. We've stumbled upon using cattle panel to 8 foot. I believe they're 8 foot. No, they're 16 foot. You use the 16 foot cattle panels and you bend them into an arch with a wooden base to help keep them in place, and then you cover it with plastic. That's the way we decided to go. Ended up building it for about $350, which is not cheap. I mean, everything's going up in price over the last 2 years, thankfully. I mean, joy. It's a sign of a booming economy when prices continue to go up. That's what we were told. So I managed to build that for $350. That's with the plastic and everything. About a day's work. Little improvements here and there as I go on. Things you learn, things you forgot to do. But other than that, it's good to go. Works really well. And when the sun's out, it gets probably about 10 degrees. On a cold day, it's about 10 to 15 degrees warmer inside than outside if it is a blue sky, sunny day. Unfortunately, at nighttime, it drops right down because none of that's insulated, so it's just hemorrhaging all the heat that did manage to get in there, which has been the next project that I've been working on, is heating that. First, I started with heat sinks. I saw a lot of people saying, get a lot of water jugs, put glycol in them, make sure they're black, they'll absorb the sunlight, and then when the sunlight's gone, it will dissipate, radiate that heat off and heat your greenhouse. Well, I put one large one in there with a fish tank heater just to make sure it doesn't freeze, and that did not help at all. Just a waste of energy. So I'm moving on to a rocket mass heater. Now, this is a really cool design. I'll try to, for those watching video, I'll put some stuff up I'll inlay it here. I'm not used to doing this much technology. I'll inlay it so you can see it, but you can also look it up on YouTube. It is a long, slippery rabbit hole for to look up information on that. And there's a lot of good information on it. It essentially is a very simple and primitive way to make heat, or you can also cook on it as well. So it's a J tube, what they call a J tube. So imagine the letter J. You have your high end and your low end. The low end is where you feed the wood and the air, and the high end is where the heat rises. It comes out of there. And when you get one cooking good enough, it sounds like a rocket. It's pretty cool. Very efficient. It uses about a tenth of the fuel needed to keep it going than a traditional wood stove or campfire. So it's really, really cool. And then if that's just the J, if you want to then go above and beyond, you then put so that's just like a rocket stove. If you want to make a rocket mass heater, you then put a barrel over top of that J tube on the high end, on the exhaust end. Then that hot air rises, comes into the combustion chamber, and it's a secondary combustion chamber, so it's even more efficient. It burns off and radiates out that way. And then you put an exhaust pipe very, very low on the barrel, and that will also get heated up, but it doesn't. That pipe doesn't get super hot. Traditional chimneys, when you look at like a wood stove with a chimney, that you lose a lot of heat through your chimney. It's more than just smoke that comes out. If you ever look on a really cold day, a bunch of people's houses that burn wood, we have a wood stove, so when we go outside and look, at first you'll see some smoke coming out. That means you're putting on fresh fuel, but once the burning process is going, you can just see the heat radiating out of the chimney. Now, a lot of the chimneys, almost all chimneys, are regulated to be insulated, which is good. That keeps the heat from radiating out, but you're still losing it through the top. A rocket stove, a rocket mass heater like this, you're actually not losing as much through it. A lot of it's kept inside that barrel, which is really, really cool. Now, the exhaust piping that I have inside, I have a lot of it inside the grow house, and that is going to be that actually radiates whatever heat's left in that pipe is radiating out into the to the grow house. So we're going to be putting a bench over top of that for seeds, so Crystal can get some stuff growing. Still tweaking it. It's not perfect, but I can get it pretty hot in there very fast. Within the one day that when I first started, I started a fire in about 60 seconds. The trash can, which is just galvanized. A lot of people use 55-gallon drums. I wanted to start on a smaller scale, so I'm just using a 35-gallon galvanized trash can. And in 60 seconds, that can was hot enough to burn my hand. It was pretty bad, actually. Hand's doing pretty good. We put a good ointment on there. But, it got hot fast. So It's pretty cool. So I'm working on that. And anyone who follows me on Instagram, my personal account, I've been trying to put some updates on that as I go. I actually would like to go work out in there today, to see if I can. I have some ideas to try to make it more efficient, to make it last longer. That's the problem. Right now, my problem is that I can make it last for about 2 hours. And I'd like to find a way to slow that down so that it doesn't just peter out, because my problem here is overnight when the sun's down. I have no problem as long as I'm awake. I can go out there like 9 o'clock at night before I go to bed. I can feed the wood. The problem then comes at midnight, 1 in the morning, 2 in the morning, when I need it to still be radiating heat, and I'm asleep. So we will. I just need it to be able to, like, right before bed, I can go out and feed it a couple pieces of wood, thicker pieces of wood, and then I can just let it go. So we'll see if I can get that done. If not, I move on to something else. Maybe I will just have to upgrade to the bigger 55 gallon barrel and go from there. So, but other than that, the hoop house or the grow house, whatever you want to call it, that's all done for the most part. I need a couple like insulating boards behind the stove. We'll need some grow blankets for insulation for the early spring, late winter, to be able for her to go start her seeds, so we don't have to have them inside the house, which is really nice. All right, so that's really all there is for the grow house. Now I want to get into the more controversial thing, as it regards to firearms. Now, anyone who knows me knows that I love to shoot. It's something I thoroughly enjoy. I believe God did give me a gift of being able to be good at certain things. He gave me the gift of being able to build things, to be able to be creative, to be able to work with my hands. And fortunately for me, I happen to like to shoot. I happen to be mildly good. I'm not going to toot my own horn and say I'm an expert. I'm not an expert. But it's something I enjoy doing. I enjoy shooting a lot. It brings me a lot of comfort, and thankfully, it happens to be something that is a necessity. So for hunting, that's a thing I need, which I didn't have this on the agenda, but Carrie and I had her first deer hunting season this year, which was really cool. She had a great time. She got to witness me get a small doe. So we harvested a small doe, thankfully. God provided us with a nice small doe, not too small, big enough. We got about, what did I say, about 33 pounds? I think I ended up getting about 33 pounds of meat. This is my first year doing the processing as well, so that went all smoothly. Did some ground meat this year. This was all done by myself. I didn't have to pay anybody this year, so I'm really, really happy about that. Thankful for that. So, last week on the, what's today, 19th? So on the 13th, the ATF, the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms, released a new rule regarding pistol braces on pistols. Now, this is where the visual is going to come in on this as well. So I'll try to do my best to describe for those who are listening, but I suggest that you look. So I'm going to start off with this. So in my hand, for those listening, I have my daily carry, which is a Sig Sauer P365X. And for those watching YouTube, it is unloaded, so it's empty. There's nothing, no magazine. It's empty. And this is my everyday carry. I carry this every single day with me. It is a legal pistol that you can walk into pretty much any firearm store, any FFL, and you can purchase this. In fact, I recommend it. It's a very, very good one. Crystal ended up getting the same one. I have a little Holosun 407K on it for red dot, something I had never really had an experience with until putting this on here, so I like it. And so this is my pistol. Effective range for me, I probably would not shoot beyond 40 yards. I probably wouldn't. 40 is pushing it. In reality, comfortable range for me is probably around 20 to 30 at max. So statistics show that it's probably not going to a self-defense situation would never be that far. But that's fine. That's fine. Better to train for it and not need it. So that's a pistol. Okay, by the definition by the ATF, it is a pistol. It is a barrel that is under 16 inches long. This barrel actually happens to be a little over 3. I think it's a 3.1 inch barrel. And so that's that this is defined as a pistol. It is a handgun, and it is a pistol. I think traditionally most people would look at this as a pistol. Now, this is also a pistol by definition. I know to most people this is an AR platform for those who are listening. It is an AR upper, AR lower. It fires 5.56, 223, but it has a barrel that is under 16 inches as well. This is an 11.5-inch barrel that is measured from where the threads on the muzzle brake end, which is right about here, and that goes all the way back to the barrel ends, because the barrel on the AR is where the bullet goes into, so it's right about here. Okay, so this is 11.5-inch. The muzzle device is not included in that length. That's why it goes to the threads. This is classified by the ATF as a pistol, purely because of the length of the barrel. I know you look at this and go, that's stupid, that's not a pistol, but by definition it is. Now, by definition, a pistol, actually, before I move on, let's do one last one here. This, which looks similar to the last one, is a rifle. Now, the only difference here is you can see that it is much longer. This is another AR for those who are listening. Still fires 5.56, same rounds, same capacity, same rate, except this has an 18-inch barrel, again, measured from about here, where the threads end, all the way down to here is 18 inches. So that is an 18-inch barrel. More accurate. You have a little bit improved accuracy with the longer barrel, just for stability. It's just the way it is. But other than that, conceptually, from here back is all the same. Now you'll see here, this is what, let me take this off, the strap off. If you're looking at this is a stock. So the way that these firearms work, this is your buffer tube. There's a spring and a weight in here that as you fire, it reciprocates in and launches, the spring launches it back, the bolt back forward. This is a stock. Okay, very important. This is a stock. It is adjustable. I believe this is a Hogue. Yep, this is the Hogue stock. And we'll go back to the pistol. This is a brace. This is a pistol brace. You'll see it's hollow. I just bumped the microphone. This is designed to be able to strap over your forearm for people with disability, for better stability, to be able to shoot one-handed like that. It would strap around my arm. It is adjustable, which is fine. I actually have, let me get this strap off of here. Okay. It is adjustable, just like the stock is. The only difference is this is defined as a brace, and that's defined as a stock. They look very similar. I played a game when I first got the brace with my family. I'm like, let's play a game. Which is which? What's the difference? So recently, the ATF ruled that the braces are no longer legal. Now, the way laws are made, if we paid attention in civics class, laws are made by going through the legislative branches of our government. Congress, Senate, up to the president. That's how this is supposed to work, right? Well, the ATF is not one of those. It's not one of those. It's not the Senate or the Congress. So therefore, what came out was a rule. They're just making rules, which are not laws. So it's a weird thing. But now they are saying that is illegal to have. If you possess one, it is a felony. Now, you would ask, well, then what are you supposed to do? Well, the ATF would like you to do a couple things. Number one, that brace needs to be destroyed. You can also turn it in. You take it off and just leave it off. Just like I said, destroy it so your firearm would no longer have one. You can then purchase a stock, which I happen to have a second one because that platform was a rifle at one point. And before anyone gets really mad or tries to bring some legalities at me, when you buy a lower receiver, so let me bring this back up here. So on this firearm, this is a rifle, okay? This rifle, on the AR platform, you have your upper. This is your upper receiver right here. You see this seam? This can come apart. So you have your upper receiver. That's where your optics mount to. That's where your bolt carrier group reciprocates in. That's where the bullets go. And then you have your lower. The lower has a serial number, and I don't know if you can see it. It would be right in here. This happened. This one right in my hand right here started its life as a Ruger AR-556, which is a 16-inch rifle from Ruger Firearms. That's why this one has an 18-inch barrel on it. I upgraded the barrel and the handguards, so I wanted this. Now, it's because when you purchase a lower receiver, that as a rifle, so if you buy a rifle, it can only live its life out for the rest of its life as a rifle legally. Now you can buy just lower receivers, and which is what I had done when I originally built the pistol, my AR pistol. I bought just the lower. I didn't buy it as a complete rifle. When you buy it as just a lower, you can make it into a pistol or a rifle. If you buy if I were to buy like what I have in my hand right now, if I were to buy this from a store, it would be registered as a pistol. And so it would be sold as a pistol, meaning you have to go through everything exactly the same as if I was buying this Sig Sauer P365X. And when you buy a pistol, it can be a pistol or a rifle. You can do the same thing. So when you buy a rifle, it can only ever be a rifle. When you buy a pistol, it can be a pistol or a rifle. And if you buy a lower, it can be a pistol or a rifle. So originally I built that lower as a rifle, and I changed my mind and I wanted to actually turn it into a pistol. So that's why that exists the way it is. Now, so this is the only piece that is actually regulated. And I forget where I was going I forget where I was going with this before I went on that. But I mean, these are things that I don't think a lot of people, especially people who are not gun people, know. And so what you're able to do now, one of the things the ATF wants you to do, is so this brace needs to be taken off and destroyed. Or you can surrender the entire weapon, and the ATF will destroy it. Yeah, I'm not doing either of these two things so far. The third option is to register this as a short-barreled rifle. Now, for those that are watching, and for those who are listening, I'm holding my 11.5-inch AR pistol. If right now, if I were to take this brace off and put on this stock that's in my hand, which is the same size and functions almost identical, if I put this on here right now, I would become a felon because I do not have the $200 tax stamp needed to convert this into a short-barreled rifle. Short-barreled rifle is a rifle with a barrel under 16 inches. But we also learned earlier at the beginning of this segment that a pistol is a firearm that has a barrel with that is less than 16 inches. The pistol braces was kind of a workaround around this, but it was also to help people with stabilizing with disabilities. So the ATF is giving, now with this new ruling, they're giving us the option of they're waiving the $200 fee, but you still have to register for the SBR, the short barrel rifle, so that you can put a stock back on. And they're claiming this is for safety, of course, safety. I'll become much more safe if that's the case. But concealability is their big issue. They don't want people to have this. They don't want people to be able to carry around an 11.5-inch AR pistol with a brace on it, because this is more concealable to them than this. Now, for those that are watching, they're the same size. Actually, I think lengthwise, it's an inch longer. An inch. Now, I know an inch makes a big difference in a lot of things. Zing. But in this scenario, it makes no difference. So really, it's their way to justify their actions, which are totally corrupt. On my Facebook, I had shared, and actually I'll pull it up and I'll read it because this is more than just a crazy gun nut getting upset. And I'll explain why with this post here. I wrote, "The year is 2040. All vehicles sold new are electric vehicles with a $200 tax per car. payable to the EPA, the Environmental Protection Agency. Citizens are allowed to own a gas or diesel-powered vehicle until one day the EPA changes the rules and makes it a felony to own them. The new rule states that you can keep the car, but you must remove the engine and replace it with an electric motor, register the vehicle with the EPA, and pay them the $200 tax, all within 120 days. Also may not be able to enter certain states with the converted vehicle. What happens if you don't? Well, that's a felony that is punishable by up to 10 years in prison and a $10,000 fine, along with losing your ability to ever own a vehicle again. Ridiculous, right? How many Americans would fight this change if it happened? Should unelected agents of three-letter agencies be able to arbitrarily change definitions without going through Congress, the Senate, and the President? Well, for my friends that aren't plugged into firearm news, this exact scenario happened last night. The ATF has given millions of law-abiding gun owners 120 days to turn in their pistol braces, which was ruled legal by the ATF a few years ago, and or install a rifle stock and register it as a short-barreled rifle, which is a $200 tax stamp, registration, and certain state restrictions within 120 days, or be a felon. This may not sound like a big deal, but it is, mostly because it was perfectly legal yesterday, and that this change never had or has to go through the legislative process that was established during the foundation of this country. Roughly 3 to 7 million braces exist in the U.S., and I'm one of these owners. Now, I want to offer a correction here. They're actually estimating up to 40 million of these braces, that's insane. That's a lot of braces. And I don't think that includes warehouses and FFLs or any store that owns them to sell them. Now remember the Second Amendment here, a well-regulated militia with being necessary to the security of a free state, the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. Now you could argue that it's a very, very solid argument. I hope more people make this argument that this stock right here and the brace that it's supposed to replace is not a firearm. Correct. So explain to me what jurisdiction the ATF, the Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearm Bureau, has. They have no jurisdiction over something that's not a firearm or alcohol or tobacco. I can't smoke this, I can't drink it, and I can't shoot it. So therefore, this agency should have no power in regulating it. Even if I could do any of those three things with it, they still don't have the right to regulate it because they can't make laws. Now, they've already come out. There's plenty of videos online and people talking about this rule change, and what they think of it, the inner workings of it, and how it works, and all that stuff. So, like I mentioned, it's 120 days from publishing, which I believe was this week. It came out. They announced it on Friday, and I think it got officially put in place this week. And I spent a lot of time kind of worrying about it at first, which I knew I shouldn't have done. Because that's just dumb. I shouldn't worry about things. We're told in the Bible not to worry. So if I don't worry about anything else, if I don't worry about day-to-day things because God provides everything that I have and need, why should I worry about this? In reality, the ATF has already said that the ATF is not going to be enforcing this. It's going to fall into local jurisdictions to enforce it. Most local jurisdictions have already said, yeah, we're not enforcing this. This is ridiculous. So in reality, I have nothing to really worry about. God's in control. We'll cross that bridge when we get to it. I have yet to decide if I'm going to just take the brace off and put on a stock, because if I'm going to be a felon, I might as well get what I want out of it, because in reality, the stock is a little bit more secure, but it doesn't affect my ability to shoot. Or if I'm just going to leave it on and wait it out for 120 days, maybe it gets overturned, maybe it ggets changed. There's already lawsuits coming, so who knows? I haven't decided what I'm going to do yet. I can tell you what I'm not going to do, and I'm not going to register for an SBR because there becomes restrictions and like moving to different states. There are certain restrictions that come with an SBR, so I'm not doing that. It also, that registration then leads to a gun registry, a federal gun registry, which does not exist and should not exist. So I'm not doing that. I'm not destroying my firearm, not destroying the brace. Actually, I don't care about the brace. The brace can come off and thrown away for all I care. So maybe I will destroy it. I don't know. So we'll see. We're going to wait it out and see. and it's ridiculous, and it's not, for those who are not gun people, this probably sounds very absurd. It's because it is, and this is what gun owners have to go through on a daily basis when trying to either purchase or go somewhere, just simply exist. I love the argument that women don't have as many rights in this country as guns. Well, that is just false. And if women would like to have the same rights and abilities to do things as my firearms, I encourage you to have a serial number tattooed on you. I encourage your husband or your whatever partner you have, whoever you live with, to have a permit to be able to put you in a car or to put a coat on you, because then you'd be concealed. I encourage you to not ever go into a school or any federal building, because that's illegal. They're gun-free zones. And I encourage you not to be able to go to certain states that don't allow you to be there, because it's illegal for you to go into those over state lines. So if you'd like to do that, be my guest. But last I checked, that's not the case. So I think that's my whole spiel on guns. I'm pretty sure that's my spiel. I don't have much more to go over other than that. It's going to get taken care of. What happens. And personally, I'd love to see the entire NFA, the National Firearms Act. I'd like to see that whole thing gotten rid of. I would love the ability to be able to walk into a gun store, and just buy a suppressor on the spot. I'd love the ability to just have an SBR, because I want an SBR without all the restrictions and crap that goes with it. I would love that. So we'll see. But that is all for this episode, this finale episode of Professional American. I thank you all for listening. I really do. I appreciate the support. Go check out the Digression podcast. Chris and Jody have mentioned this podcast before. I'm very appreciative of them. And go check out their podcast for all military news, stories. They're fantastic guys. I really appreciate their support over the years. So go check them out. Go check out Tales of Honor podcast, my own podcast. It's a little bit, it's scripted. It's a little bit less of me being me, which I do love being me, but it is what it is. So I'm going to refocus my efforts on other things. The time not used to produce and make this podcast is going to go into either putting more time and efforts into my podcast, Tales of Honor, being with my family, doing work outside, maybe going to the range and honing in my skills a little bit, or spending time in the Bible like I'm supposed to do every single night. So we'll go that. We'll do one of those or all of the above. So I really, really appreciate it. You feel free to go back and check the back catalog for those who are new. And hopefully this video, hopefully the video is a nice send-off for those who don't know what I look like. Underwhelming, I'm sure. So thank you all again for listening. Very, very much appreciate it. And that is all I got. Thank you again for listening and making this podcast go on for as long as it has. And just remember, as an American, we have 3 things that we have to really help us be professional Americans. Number 1, we have the Bible. We're allowed to practice our religion without any government infringement. Read your Bible every single day. Die to the flesh daily and feed yourself with the word from God, and carry that out. Number 2 is the U.S. Constitution. Read it. They make pocket constitutions they're on Amazon for dirt cheap. Get one, read it, know what our founding fathers had for us to live in this nation, including not having the right to speak and not having the right to gather, assemble, and practice our religion, have that infringed, and also to not have our rights to keep and bear arms infringed on as well. And third of all is to actually possess things like firearm, to be able to defend yourself, to be able to defend others, to be able to provide for your family as far as hunting, but most of all for safety, for protection from bad people and from bad people that want to do bad things. So these are the 3 things that are really enshrined. They're the first 2 things our founding fathers instilled into our country, and I believe in them, and I believe in practicing them every single day. And that is all I get. I hope everything that I've had in this podcast to this point has been helpful, maybe a way to help you be a professional American, to take living in this country seriously and to not let it go away. Do not give up an inch. This is what we are supposed to do in this country, and I'd never want to trade it for anything else other than going to heaven. I would give up I would give up living in Center Valley, PA for a chance to just go be with Jesus right now. I would do that. But other than that, on this earth, I wouldn't give up anything for what we have right here. So let's not let this slip away, because remember, if the United States becomes not free like it is right now, there's no place to go. This is the last bastion on this earth to be able to live the lives that we have currently. So remember that, protect it, and like I said, be in your Bible, learn what God has to offer you, and may He be with you moving forward. And I love you all. Thank you very much. Have a good one.